Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? So as y'all see, I got a new mic for all my videos. I'm trying to improve the sound quality for y'all, so y'all let me know down in the comments what you think, if it sounds better, if it sounds worse. So y'all know what time it is, man. We are on to the top 10 centers going into next season. I've already done point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. So if y'all have not had a chance, go check out those videos as well. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video, and let's get right into it. Now, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this list. I didn't really have too much trouble, but I mean, like 7 through 9 is kind of, you can really rank anywhere, and I think 1 and 2 are kind of obvious. So with that being said, at number 10, I got Nikola Vucevic. And this is a player who is still a solid center in the league. I don't think he's an all-star. I don't think he really should have ever been an all-star. He was always putting up numbers on a bad team. The Magic have always been bad since he got there. And then he got traded to the Chicago Bulls. I don't really know how he fits in there. He hasn't played great. He's shown flashes of being an all-star. And then there's other times where he just looks like a kind of a mid-center. So I don't really know. He's still top 10. He's borderline top 10. There's maybe some other guys that you could have maybe included other than him, but I got Vucevic at number 10. He does stretch the floor. He's a still pretty good rebounder, but he's not really a good defensive player. He didn't have a good playoff run with the Bulls when they did play the Bucks in the playoffs. So as of right now, I got Vucevic at number 10 going into next season. So at number 9, I kind of went back and forth with this one. It's a guy, again, I could have put anywhere from like 7, 8, or 9, and I got Robert Williams. And this is a guy who just, he played outstanding in the playoffs when he was healthy. Now, when the Celtics lost him towards the back half of the season and missed most of the playoffs, that did really hurt them, but obviously they still got to the finals. And if he was healthy in that finals, you really wonder what could have been. Now, granted, I don't know if they would have beat the Warriors because Jason Tatum just didn't show up, but that's another story for another day. I love the defensive presence that Robert Williams brings. I think he's one of the best lob threats. He's one of the best rim protectors, even being undersized. He doesn't have too much of an offensive game, but he's just so incredible on defense. Will be an all defensive player this upcoming season, I believe. So I got Robert Williams, the anchor of the Celtics defense, coming in at number 9 going into next season. So at 8, I got another guy that could have really been higher or lower, and that's Clint Capella of the Atlanta Hawks, my Hawks. I know he didn't have a great season last year. He took a step back from what he was when we went to the Eastern Conference Finals the year before. I really look for him to have a bounce back season. Clint Capella is one of the best lob threats in the NBA. He's one of the best pick and roll partners, especially with Trae Young. I think they combine with one of the best point guard to center ratio or something like that. Clint Capella he's a defensive anchor, even though they didn't have Hawks didn't have a great defensive season last year, but he's still a great rim protector. He's still a great offensive rebounder, still a great rebounder in general. I really would like to see him improve his offensive game, because outside of that lob, he really is dog shit on offense. He misses so many close layups, but he's still one of the top 10 centers in the NBA. Could have been higher, could have been lower. I really went back and forth to put him and Robert Williams at 8 and 9. I wasn't sure who to rank where. You can argue definitely Robert Williams could be 8 and Clint Capella be 9, but I got my boy CC at number 8 going into next season. So at number 7, I think is one of the most underrated centers in the league, and that's Jarrett Allen. And if he didn't get hurt last year towards the end of the season, the Cavs really could have been in the playoffs. They battled so many injuries, and they really fell from like the 6th seed down to the 9th, or the 8th actually was what they finished at, I think. And that's when the Hawks beat him in the play-in tournament to get to playoff seed. Now, if he didn't get hurt, we could have been looking at a different scenario for the playoffs, especially for the Cavs. He's another one of those lob threat guys. He doesn't have a crazy great offensive game, but he's a great shot blocker, great rim protector, great pick and roll guy, gets boards. Very similar to the way Clint Capella and Robert Williams play. So again, 8, 9, and 10, you really could rank either way, but I like Jarrett Allen a little bit better than Robert Williams and Clint Capella, so I got him at number 7 going into next season. Now at number 6, this is kind of controversial. I think this guy is the most overrated center in basketball. Well, maybe not overrated, but overpaid, and that's Rudy Gobert. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Rudy Gobert, right? He's an outstanding defensive player. We get all that. He's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's the best rim protector in basketball, but he's so overpaid. And the value that Robert Williams, Clint Capella, and Jarrett Allen give you, I would much rather have those guys at the center position for their price tag over a guy like Rudy Gobert. Now, in the playoffs, Rudy Gobert really was exposed. it was proven that they could not keep him on the court because he could not guard the perimeter. The Mavericks were just running 5 guys that could shoot, and he could not step out to guard the three-point line, and he was exposed. The Jazz got exposed with keeping him on the floor in that Dallas series, and that's why they ultimately lost that series. I like Rudy Gobert. He's a solid player. That the Timberwolves definitely overpaid for him, but I mean, that is what it is. I think I talked about that in a previous video. 5 first-round picks was just way too much. He's overpaid, but he is still one of the top-tier centers in the NBA. I got him just outside of the top 5, just based off his defensive ability going into next season. So moving into the top 5, and at number 5, I got a guy who just got a max contract, and that is Deandre Ayton. He had his ups and downs in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, he's still only 24 years old. He has so much potential. I really would like to see him improve his defense slightly. I mean, he's an okay rim protector, but he's not great. But what he does, I mean, he gives you a pretty good amount of offense. He's able to step out and hit that 15 to 18 foot mid-range jumper. He can sometimes hit the 3. I wouldn't really rely on him to hit the 3, but we have seen he did knock it down in college. He has hit a handful in the NBA, so it isn't like he can't shoot. And I do look for Deandre Ayton to improve that jumper going forward, as well as his rim protecting. He's what, 7 foot 7'1". He's got great size. Pause. But he's just an outstanding young player. I mean, I look for him to take that next step this next season. Still with D-Book there, still with Chris Paul there. I got Deandre Ayton at number 5 going into next season. Now at number 4, this is a guy I kind of went back and forth with at number 4, number 5, and that's Bam Adebayo. And he didn't have a great playoff run. He really just was kind of a shell of himself in a lot of those series, especially against the Hawks. Now, I know my Hawks got blown out the water, but Bam really wasn't the reason for that. It was Jimmy. He just didn't really play well all around. He had so many games where he'd score 4 to 8 points or whatever, and then he'd bounce back with 30, and then he'd have 3 more games where he'd have like 8 points, 10 points, 12 points. He can step out and hit the mid-range. He can't really hit the 3, but he's an excellent defensive player, the defensive anchor for the Miami Heat. He's a great shot blocker. He's a pretty good rebounder, great pick and roll guy. I really want to see Bam take that next step as well. As like I said with a lot of these guys, I want to see these guys take that next step and become that next tier center. But I still got Bam at number 4 going into next season. So at number 3 is going to be a guy who's actually going to be playing power forward this year, obviously, and that is KarlAnthony Towns. Now we know they just got Rudy Gobert in that trade, so Cat is going to be moving over to the 4, but he's still a center in my eyes. I mean, I know he is a little bit soft, and I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I like Cat, but he is a little bit soft. He's a pretty good rebounder, but he's obviously the best 3-point shooting center we've ever seen. Not big man, because all respect to Dirk, but he is the best 3-point shooting center the league has ever seen, and I don't even think it's really a debate. I think he is really going to take his game to the next level with being at the 4. I just think he fits so much better at the 4, but he's still a center in my eyes as of right now. Now, maybe next year when I do this ranking video, I'll have him in the power forward list, but I think he is going to fit very well next to Rudy Gobert. And the Timberwolves, man, they are one of the teams that I am so excited to watch. They are in my top 5 teams in terms of like how excited I am to watch these teams. So I really am looking forward to seeing how him and Rudy Gobert mesh. I think it is a good fit, so we'll see. But everybody knows what KarlAnthony Towns brings to the table, man. He's a 25 and 10 guy. Every night gives you a couple, block shots, couple assists. He's a pretty good playmaker as a big man, great post player. We know what KarlAnthony Towns, man, what he is. I got him at number 3 going into next season. So the top 2 centers, I'm sure y'all already know who they are. And at number 2, I have Joel Embiid. Now you can argue who's number 2 and who's number 1. But I have Joel Embiid being number 2 for the simple fact that he has yet to win an MVP, while Joker, obviously, who is number 1, it has won 2. So not taking anything away from Embiid, we know what player he is. He's one of the best defensive bigs in the NBA. He's an MVP player, even though he has not won it yet. He has carried the Sixers. He's the top 5 to 7 best player in the NBA. But I still got him at number 2. He's had kind of he's came up small in some of the playoff games, even though he's had some huge playoff games, but we know what Joel Embiid is. We know what he brings to the table. He's one of the best 3-point shooting bigs in the NBA. Even though he's not elite, he can still step out and shoot it. His post game is incredible. His footwork is incredible. A lot of people say his footwork is on the par with Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm not going to go that far, but he's still just overall an incredible player. Top 5, top 7, wherever you want to rank him. I got Joel Embiid at number 2 going into next season. Now, obviously, as y'all just heard, I got Jokic at number 1. The Joker, 2-time MVP, man. What more do you need to say? I don't really need to dive into why he's number 1. He's the best playmaking big we've ever seen in the game. He can stretch the floor. He's not a great defensive player, and that's where Joel Embiid does have the edge. But Joker just does really everything else, man. He makes his guys better. He's just so efficient. He's so damn good, man. He can take over a game at any moment, like Joel Embiid. But me personally, I would take Joker over Joel Embiid, and that's not a shot at Embiid. He's, like I said, these are the top 2 centers in the NBA. You could put it whatever way, which way you want, but I can't look past the 2-time MVP. I got Joker at number 1 going into next season. So that is pretty much it, man. That is my top 10 center list. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments, what you would change, what if at all. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Make sure y'all go check out those other top 10 lists as well. Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.